Hey everybody, it's Will Venus. Welcome back to my channel and to a brand new episode of Cobble Icons. Today is going to be a quick episode because I'm quite busy and I need to do some self-care, so yeah, that's the reason for it being a short video. So today is going to be the character profile of a minor character called Patricia Hillman. Patricia Hillman was played by Annabelle Apsion. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I've not, tell me in the comments. She first appeared on the 12th of May 2002. Patricia was the ex-wife of Corrie's first serial killer, Richard Hillman, and if you want me to do a video about him, let me know in the comments and I will definitely do that for you. And so she turned up in May 2002 because she wanted her ex-husband Richard to buy out her 20% share in their joint business called Kellett Holdings. Now, initially what happened, Richard agreed to do this, but unbeknown to Patricia, Richard just did not have the money, and so what happened was he kept stalling her, he would ignore her calls, and yeah, just tried his best to avoid her completely because he just did not have the money to buy her out of his business. I mean, this wasn't just short change we're talking about, it was actually £25,000 that Patricia was wanting from Richard, and he just didn't have the money. And so when Richard started to avoid her calls and just ignoring her completely, she actually turned up at number 8 Coronation Street, which is Gail's house, and it has been since, I believe, 1990, which is when that side of the street was built. Well, rebuilt, but if you want to cover that, again, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely do a video about that one. And so Richard knew that Patricia knew a lot of information about him and, you know, all of his past shady deals and business and things, so he didn't want Patricia, you know, telling Gail everything when she turned up at number 8 Coronation Street, and he said that he would meet her elsewhere. And so what he decided to do was he was going to meet her in a place called the Ridings, which was like a housing development place. So it was pretty much like a builder's yard, so you would see like bits of wood, scaffolding, and there was also a huge hole in the ground which was going to be the foundations for this new build. And so when they finally met up there, Patricia kept saying to Richard that she was going to expose him for all his lies, tell Gail that he was a shady businessman and just a complete con man really, because when Richard first came into the street he was working as a financial advisor, and that meant for him that he could have access to other people's money and just rip them off really, which he actually did to a couple of the residents of Coronation Street, including Jack and Vera. And so when they were having this argument, Patricia kind of stumbled and fell back into this this foundation pit, and she was saying, she was scrambling to get out, and she kept saying, "I'm going to get you for this, Richard, I'm going to get you for this." And she eventually did manage to get out of the hole, but then when the argument came to the crux, she actually spat in Richard's face because she was just so disgusted with him, because she knew that she wasn't going to get the money that she wanted. And so after she spat in his face and threatened to, you know, tell Gail everything, because Richard had managed to make Gail completely unaware of all his past dealings and things, and so obviously Richard didn't want Patricia to tell her. And so the argument came to a crux, and nearby was like a gardening spade, and at the peak of Richard's anger he picked up the gardening spade, and whilst Patricia was facing away from him, he smashed the spade over her head. And just as he was about to do that, she kind of looked back and screamed, and so yeah, it kind of caved her head in, and the last scene that you saw of her was her lying in the pit, and she was obviously dead because her eyes were open and she had blood trickling from her forehead, and that was the end of her character. Now, the next day, like the episode after that, Richard had actually covered up Patricia's body with dirt and things so that she couldn't be seen, and the next day work went ahead for pouring concrete into this particular pit, and so yeah, Patricia was concreted over. But just before the concrete was poured in, Steve McDonald, who was rendered at the site, he found a women's bracelet, and kind of all building works kind of ceased so people could find out if there was anyone here that had an accident, or you know, just to make sure that no one else was there before this concrete was poured in. But Richard, being the very resourceful person that he was good at lying. He made up a story that it was just a bracelet that just fell from nowhere, basically. And yeah, the concrete was poured over. But obviously, this is a soap, so nothing goes left untold for very long. And in February 2003, when Richard Hillman confessed to his crimes, Patricia's body was dug up, and yeah, she was definitely, and then she was found, and so she could be laid to rest elsewhere. Now, Patricia was actually Richard Hillman's first victim. After that, when his business partner Dougie Ferguson was on the work site, he'd fell from like a stairwell shaft, and he'd obviously had injuries and things when he fell, and Richard was there at that point, but rather than Richard calling for an ambulance, he just left Dougie to die. Obviously that's unfortunate, to say the least. After that, Richard attempted to kill Emily Bishop when she was babysitting for Ashley and Maxine Peacock. He'd actually hit Emily over the head with a spade again, and Maxine walked in on this, and obviously she had to go, so she couldn't say anything. And I remember watching that, and that really scarred me for a while, because I was a lot younger back then, 2003, and it really shook me up. And then afterwards, when all of these stories were revealed to Gail, he tried to kill himself, Gail, Sarah Louise, Bethany and David, when he tried to first poison them with carbon monoxide by gassing the whole garage next to number 8, and then he tried to drown them all when he drove into the canal with them all in the car. So that is the short story of Patricia Hillman. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Do leave me suggestions down below if you've got any requests for future characters in Cobble Icons, and I shall see you again next week with a brand new episode. Take care. Bye, Choke.